I would say move to Taiwan and don't waste your time with China. Whereas Chinese people don't really know a lot about the world, and everything that they do know is skewed or brought to them by the state government, right? Because it's not like they have a conservative news and liberal news, or they don't have like CNN versus Fox News where you can get two different takes on the news, or the BBC, which is like supposed to be neutral or whatever, but it's literally one state news that everyone reports the same thing. Everything that they know is given to them through the lens of the communist government. So they're just a little bit more ignorant than Taiwanese people are. Hong Kong has a lot of it.
There's actually Cantonese saying. It says, we can eat anything that has four legs apart from the table, and everything that flies apart from the airplane.
Anything with wings but not an airplane.
Then I guess 4 years in China, and then suddenly you decide to move to Taiwan. So what was your motivation there?
Well, some friends of mine were making a documentary in China, and it didn't go particularly well with the government.
What do you mean?
And I wasn't guilty of anything. I think I probably would have been fine, but I didn't want to take any chances, and so they left, and then I decided that Taiwan was probably a good place, because I spoke a bit of Chinese, I understood the culture a little bit, and I just couldn't have been asked to learn like Japanese or something, go to another country. I wasn't ready to go home either, so I came here.
Okay, so you come from Canada, right? First country you go abroad is China. You lived there for 4 years. You definitely had a cultural shock, right? And after you get used to eating dogs and stuff, then you go to Taiwan. And what's the biggest difference? Like,
I'm not eating dog. That's for sure. There's a difference. No, there's lots of differences, but there's also.
How do you know you didn't eat the dogs there?
Huh?
Did you always check what you eat in China?
Well, I don't like bringing up the dog thing because people get quite sensitive about it, obviously, and I've changed my stance on it somewhat because I really love dogs. There's a lot of differences, but there are also a lot of similarities. People like to bring up the differences, but not the similarities, which is interesting. But I think the difference is that Taiwanese people are a lot more worldly, they're a lot more understanding of what's going on in international affairs, and they've got more of an open mind, whereas Chinese people don't really know a lot about the world, and everything that they do know is skewed or brought to them by the state government, right? Because it's not like they have a conservative news and liberal news, or they don't have like CNN versus Fox News where you can get two different takes on the news, or the BBC, which is like supposed to be neutral or whatever, but it's literally one state news that everyone reports the same thing. Everything that they know is given to them through the lens of the communist government. So they're just a little bit more ignorant than Taiwanese people are.
You live in Taiwan. Do you have any like funny situations, like when you started using Chinese from China here, for example?
Yeah, a few times. I mean, the Chinese is different here, one with the accent, and two, there's certain words and phrases that they use in China that they don't use here, and vice versa. I was trying to buy a helmet in Taiwan, and which is Anchuan Mao, something like that, wherever the tone goes. But in China, I always called it a toukui.
Oh.
But a toukui is like a military helmet, like a soldier helmet. And I remember I walked into the shop, but I was like, "Ni hao, wo cai zhao一个toukui." Like I was like, "Who are you going to war with? Like who are you gonna fight?"
So let's talk about like something more interesting. So what's the difference between Chinese mainland and Taiwanese girls?
Taiwanese girls are focusing more on their careers, and they're choosing to have children a lot less these days. I mean, you're watching the Taiwanese population just drop. Traditionally speaking, they all want to get married and have kids before 30. They've got a lot more choice over what they can do with their lives, whereas in China, it's like, if you're not married and you're like 36, people are gonna look at that woman and be like,
oh, she wastes her life.
Yeah. You asked me one of the biggest differences, and I would say that Taiwanese people are a lot more open to, I won't call it criticism, but you could say that, like, if you say something like, Taiwanese traffic and drivers are terrible.
Okay.
Most Taiwanese people will be like, yeah, I also hate the driving and the traffic here. Like, they kind of agree. They're not like, they can sort of accept it and roll with it and talk about it. Whereas in China, like, saying anything negative about Chinese people or the government is completely unacceptable.
I mean, that's basically legal there.
Well, it is, right?
Yeah,
so. But they've got the sort of glass heart symptoms. You have to be very careful with what you say around Chinese people.
Let's move back in time, right? Let's, like, before you made your decision to go to China.
Yeah.
And after that, you realize actually Taiwan is pretty similar place, but different.
Yeah.
And actually, you settle down here for longer from that time, right?
Right.
So, if there's any foreigner who's watching this video, and he's thinking, oh, maybe I should move to China, maybe I should move to Taiwan. So, what would you advise to this person?
I would say move to Taiwan and don't waste your time with China. It could be fun. Like I had a lot of fun there, but I think you can do that here in Taiwan and not live in a communist regime.
I get it, you know, it's a big progress, but they're like missing. It's like you meet beautiful girl, but she has no teeth. You know, this is this like you come to China, it's like wow, the economy, everything's booming.
Yeah.
But then you, what killed me is like I went to like Guangzhou, and it's, you know, it's 20 million city.
Yeah.
And the lady pulled the baby's pants up, and he did business in a trash can, in a like public train station.
Yeah.
And that,
Dude, train stations. You ever been to a train station bathroom? Squat toilets, no walls between the toilets, like everyone's smoking in there. That's like the smoking room of the train station.
So how was your like ramen yesterday? It wasn't spicy. Oh, you can look here. You know?
Yeah.
China did lots of good stuff, like in their way, but
wow,
guys, you still need some time, like to develop some, you know, things. That's just in my opinion. That's why when I arrived to Taiwan first time, I felt so much safer and much more normal.
Yeah, me too.